AI is one of the most important things humanity is working on. It is more profound than electricity or fire. Sundar Pichai quoted this once. Hello everyone, I am Boobesh Ramadurai, Business Head of Technology Vertical at LeadNView. I want to welcome everyone to the preview of the discussion that we will be having in our upcoming roundtable event on October 20th in Menlo Park, California. ACE Innovation and Growth with AI. I'll be moderating an expert panel discussion on the growth role of AI in B2B. Joining me today is one of our three panel speakers, Alex Church. Alex is a global BI lead for Google Cloud. He has also spent a vast majority of his career at Google. Alex and his team build data solutions that power the GTM team, sales team, and various other teams in Google Cloud. Alex is spearheading the AI initiative that implements Google solutions with the BI ecosystem that can help the businesses drive decisions. Thank you for joining us today, and it's a privilege to have you here, Alex.
Thank you so much, Boobesh. And it's great to be here, and I'm really excited to be part of this conversation. I think there's such a rich ecosystem of things that we can talk about, spanning from everything from what we're leveraging inside of Google Cloud today for AI and what our visions of the future look like. So I'm very excited to have this conversation, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you. We are equally excited, Alex. I want to start with in terms of what do you think about Sundar Pichai's quote? Do you think it's a stretch to compare AI with fire or electricity?
You know, since that quote, I've been giving it some thought, and I think there are kind of two aspects to this. One is, you know, when we look at what AI can do, there's a whole series of potential futures that we can perceive ahead of us today. Everything from incremental changes that we can see in our day-to-day use, where we're able to summarize a document of text and help it be more digestible to us, to, I agree, something that is as transformative as fire or electricity when we think about some of the potential benefits that we could see through AI, and especially if it has the more impactful views that we could see in the future. Another thing that I think is an important context is also to play back in time. What did electricity mean to us in the past? So as an example, you know, it took decades from the invention of electricity for it to actually make it into people's homes. I mean, it wasn't until, you know, the early 20th century where even, you know, half of people had electricity in their homes. Whereas today with Gen AI, not quite at the click of a button, but almost, we have 4 billion people who have access to Gen AI. It's quite a different, and the speed and the pace of the impact is what we've never ever seen before. And the difference also this time is that Gen AI is helping us understand, from my perspective, what it means to be human, what it means to understand how we think and analyze problems. And that is something that is a fundamental change. These other things were tools that enabled us to go faster, to have warmth, to eat warm meals, whatever it might be. But what Gen AI is going to enable us to do, I think, is truly transformative and will actually give us more insights into ourselves and what it means to be human and what it means to think than any of these prior innovations have brought to us.
No, that is so true, Alex. In fact, what you said in terms of electricity took a lot of time to get into the application of the hands of the humans, whereas AI is already there. And if you think of it, AI is not something that is born only in November after ChatGPT came out, right? It has been there for a long time. But the pace at which it has been changing is been very rapid, and I think that is where we are all trying to get used to it. Are there any few examples that you will be able to point us to in terms of how practical examples that you are seeing in your professional career?
Yeah, and I'd like to highlight a couple of use cases which I think shed light on how we're thinking about AI, at least within my team and, you know, from the perspective of business intelligence. So, you know, we need to play to the strengths of where AI is today with also an eye to the future. And, you know, where AI is today ultimately is something that's incredibly adept at understanding patterns and also very adept at consuming large volumes of data and being able to generate, you know, the next most likely word, right, in the case of LLMs. And so, you know, as an example, we know that executives and the entire organization that we support, they want to understand what is important about a series of dashboards that they look at and review on a daily basis that help them understand the health of their business. And so the kinds of use cases we're thinking about are really around how do we digest all of that information that we have inside of those dashboards and condense that into something that's more, if I'm honest, human digestible, a verbose output from a machine written and in a succinct format that a user can digest and help them to make a decision. That's like one example use case which we're considering, working in. Another area where I think the AI model is incredibly helpful is in the past when we've run predictions, and I'm sure you're aware of this, you extrapolate out into the future and you have an algorithm. It could be anything from something relatively simple regression analysis to an ML model. But in the past, the problem with these models has been the ability to explain to the user, why did you come up with this number? Like, what is it that you were thinking, like, asking the machine, what is it that you were thinking about when you came up with this number? Today, those are impenetrable. It's a series of, correlations, which is very hard to explain to the user. But if we think of where AI is today and its capabilities, suddenly you have open to you the option for a response, something like, this opportunity is unlikely to close this quarter. This is being driven by the fact that we haven't seen additional notes or new meetings added in. And in addition, this customer is in a particularly competitive market where the win-loss rate has been X, right? Suddenly you have something which has gone from, a probability model that says true, false, this opportunity will close, into something where you have a verbose output what a human can understand. And I think that is incredibly powerful. And I think the final thing that we're looking at is, traditionally in BI, we output our responses in the form of charts or as tables. And that interaction format, is great. And we also produce thought documents, but those always require a business intelligence or analysts to sit down and write out, their thoughts and summary. But when we look at what AI can do and how it's able to take a variety of input formats, structure and understand the question, and then output the answer, it opens up a whole new avenue of user interaction, which we've not had access to in the past. So you can think chat, voice, you name it. So I think that is another area that we're starting to explore to see how we can get closer to our users, give them the insights when they need them, and in a format that works for their work style. And those are like the three broad areas that we're looking at today.
No, that's a great point, Alex. Thank you so much for that extremely insightful use cases on how you are seeing AI being adapted in the BI world. And as much as we are a data analyst, we work on the data and the charts on a day-to-day basis. But how the end user, the business stakeholder, consume that information may be very different from how we understand the insights from the data. And I'm sure that LLM model is going to help us solve and bridge that gap in terms of the way we see it. The insights that we bring it is the same insights that the business stakeholder also looks at it. As always, Alex, thank you so much for giving us the time today and giving us a sneak peek in terms of how exciting the roundtable panel discussion is going to be. Looking forward to further insightful conversation on this topic in the event.
Thank you so much, Boobesh. It's been great being here with you, and it's been great chatting. And I look forward to seeing you at the Roundtable event.
Thank you, Alex. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you.